guys, my name is Mike, and today we're gonna get murdered. Now, if you could close up there, we are going to get murdered. Woo-hoo! What? Okay, so we're heading to that supposed mental facility. Great! Whoa, perfect!
I have the best ideas right now.
Hi, Steffi. Right. Let's get murdered. That's a casino right there, folks. Looks really appealing. Great. Okay, so this story's pretty crazy. We go to an abandoned hospital. My bad, it wasn't a mental facility. They treated tuberculosis like 100 years ago, but pretty much it's abandoned at this point. At night, it starts to get pretty gosh darn bad because the only cars coming are either drunk people, people who are going to be having sex halfway through the mountain. There's these little break points, I guess. And other than that, guys who are returning from gambling at the casino or casino employees, which that casino looked spooky as fuck. And going back past that route where we had to go through, there was some really weird, sketchy buildings, and I just wouldn't feel comfortable going that route, and I wasn't even sure that the casino was open. Pretty much, we decided to go exploring on my last day in Greece, 12 hours before my flight. This is actually pretty reminiscent of that one time I got stuck 8 hours before my flight in the middle of a desert. I guess this crazy stuff happens quite often. Anyways, I met up with a subscriber in Greece, Steffi. By the way, if you're interested, she doesn't do YouTube or anything. She's pretty cool though. I told her to start a Steam account, so you should follow her. And her Instagram will be down in the description below. We've been through a lot of shit. First week in Greece, we were sick together. Second week, we nearly died. Okay, so let me get this straight. There's no cell phone reception up there in certain areas. In the abandoned spot, there's no cell phone reception because it's not necessary. By the casino, sure. But even if there is cell phone reception, it's one bar, which my cell phone SIM card ran out, okay? So it's not like I could have called anybody anyways. Steffi, on the other hand, did have a perfectly fine working phone. The only problem was it wasn't so charged. When Steffi was calling the taxi, she had less than 8% battery life. By the end of it, when the taxi arrived, she was at like 2 or 3%. That was way, way too close. And again, my phone doesn't work. So at the very beginning of this adventure, I joked that we're gonna get murdered. And I didn't actually think that I would get spooked because I thought, oh, okay, ghosts, whatever. I was starting reading like these horror stories, I guess, a couple nights before on Reddit. Nice friends up ahead. Ready to kill them. They placed that rock on purpose there.
Yeah,
Murderers in a Fiat 500.
you actually scared them. Don't do that.
But, I mean, abandoned buildings are pretty cool to explore, right? Now, here was our mistake. Usually, Steffi was part of this place multiple times, and she would go in large groups. So mainly it's people who go in large groups during the day. We decided to go at night, no cell phone reception, just me, a tourist where I don't speak any Greek whatsoever at all, so you can quite easily tell I'm not from there. With a girl, in shorts, I mean, you can see where this is going. So we met up with a group of 10 guys. There's 3 cars parked outside, and Steffi didn't tell me this, but she kind of felt it from the get-go that there was a little bit of nerves. I don't know, it was just weird seeing 3 cars parked right next to each other. To me, since I wasn't familiar with that area, I thought, well, that's where cars park, right? So it's just 3 different groups, 3 tourists or whatever as well, right? Tourists, oh, yeah, totally. We've decided to take a nice detour because shortcuts. Great. And during this section, we hear him, but I decided to just kind of screw around. Shortly after filming that, we went inside and it was super dark. You needed a flashlight. So some moments I had a flashlight on, other moments I had recording with the flash on. We go into the building and I see that the guys are coming down. Like I can see the light from their flashlights. They had 2 or 3 flashlights and there was a fair amount of them. You could hear them everywhere. You could smell the weed. They reeked of weed. I saw the beer bottles. Who knows? Maybe they were on something else. Anyways, they were drunk and high and I decided, well, I don't know if there's anybody else in this building, which there might have been, part of their group that they were in another section hiding, whatever. But I decided the best method is to go in and just ignore them, which is kind of stupid, but it sort of made sense at the time. So I went in to a hallway that was right next to them. And I shined my light here to act like, oh, I was interested. Oh, what's going on? Oh, there's some people there. I'm going to look away. Steffi comes in, and Steffi remembers all the time she came in with her friends. And these guys sort of looked like her friends, the type that just kind of goof around, whatever. She thought they seemed chill. At least she's never met people that were kind of like them before. So I can see what perspective she's coming from, but you kind of also understand what perspective I was in. I am a very paranoid person. I'm skeptical. I think most people are out to get me. I have an extremely hard time trusting people. And from the very beginning I saw these people, I didn't want to talk with them. That's for sure. Steffi says, hi! And I immediately turn around and I just stare at them, which probably spooked them because they were stoned and paranoid. And I was just standing there staring at them. I should have probably growled too. 2 of the guys say something to me in Greek. And of course, I don't respond. I don't say hi. I don't say anything. Steffi's like, oh, he doesn't understand. Or something like that. And as soon as she said that, which was bad because they knew I was a tourist for sure, they kind of like smirked. They're like, The ideas start rolling through their head. At this point, they still didn't do anything aggressive, but they were weirded out by me, and I'm sure some thoughts were going in. As they were leaving, Steffi told me that one of the guys said, what the fuck, in Greek, probably in response to me just like, and Steffi like, hey! So anyways, they go downstairs into the basement, which is super ultra dark, and it's a good thing we didn't go down there because that probably would have been a death trap. I decided to go upstairs, and Steffi was a little spooked at this point. She didn't tell me, but she kind of wanted to get out of there already. But she didn't feel the same sense of paranoia as I did from the very beginning. She was a little bit upset at me that I kind of called a couple bad things. I picked up a brick at this point. I was just like, well, just in case they come back up, I'm going to slam him in the head. And she thought I was being aggressive, where me, paranoid, I already picked up something wasn't right. I looked down, and I saw one of the guys looking straight up at me, and he was just staring, and I was like, oh, fuck. So after that, I was like, holding onto my brick. She told me to drop it, which later I did, because I was like, all right.
Where to get to the roof? Let's go.
Anarchy. We go up to the rooftop, we argue a little bit, and at this point I wanted to stay up on the roof. She kind of wanted to go, and it's a good thing we did, because on the roof there wasn't any rocks, bricks, anything. Like, there was just, you could barely find exits with a flashlight. At this point it was getting even darker. finally we go downstairs, and at this point, you can hear on the camera that Steffi says she's kind of scared. She wants to go. We see the group a second time. I don't say anything.
I'm scared of dark, okay? Let's go.
Alright, fine. She doesn't say anything. They go down further. They're probably getting more fucked up on weed and alcohol, and some thoughts are swirling through their head. We go downstairs, and at this point, I turn on my camera with the flashlight on. I'm looking, and I see what I think is a mirror, but then I realize there's two of them within like a split second. I was like, something's interesting, and I see they're kind of picking up the pace.
Let's go there.
And Steffi's a little nervous. I'm getting nervous. We're almost at the entrance. And she tells me to turn on the flashlight because I turned it off. I stopped recording them. I was like, oh, well, before I exit the app and turn on the flashlight, it's best if I start recording again. I was actually kind of happy that I got this, but it was on accident.
Stop putting it off. Okay?
Here.
What the fuck is that?
What? Do you hear that? What? What?
You think
Yeah. A fucking one of these. Fucking yeah. Anyways, what happened there is they started running a little bit. You can't really see it on the camera as much as I felt it in real life. I'm sure there was fear as well. But you definitely heard three things which were red flags. They said, fuck you. And that was kind of in a joking manner. I mean, they're acting retarded. They're still in this playful mood where it's like, it's not a life or death situation yet. But it very well could have. If we remained in that building, these guys were on substances that if I would have done anything, for example, thrown a rock back at them, I am 100% sure, and Steffi said the same thing, they probably would have gotten extremely aggressive. The guy said, fuck you, jokingly, they screamed jokingly, so you could tell that they're in a weird state of mind. But when a rock was thrown, so when I step out of the building, you could hear something, boom. That's why I returned back and I was like, what the fuck? And then when I'm going back down further, you hear another rock, and the guy screams, I'm gonna fuck you up. So even though they're going down that direction, which leads me to think that half the guys in the group don't care. Half the guys are logically thinking, like, whatever, screw those guys. But the other half were probably getting aggressive, and they were going into a fight. There was one point where, we're running, and I kind of wanted to go back. This was the retard version where I was just like, I'm pissed off. I'm going to fight him. I'm going to take him out with a brick.
Let's fight him.
Steffi said no. And it's a good thing I listened to her because honestly, if I went back by myself to go into that building to try and beat the crap out of them with a brick, even if you're Chuck Norris, like let's say you take out 9 guys, there could be one hiding behind a corner you don't see. Boom, you're taken out. So anyways, we're climbing down this mountain. It's an hour and a half, and we decide, okay, the first time we're going to get signal, we're going to call a taxi. We got a taxi! We get signal, she's got 8% battery, she calls them, cool, they're on their way, but it's going to take a while because they don't really know where we are and it's just a long distance.
It's complete darkness.
Yeah.
While we're walking down, it's the last gamblers, the last employees of the casino passing by, and it's really, really dark at this point. For the first hour, we were hiding in between trees. Like, as soon as a car would pass by, Steffi just ran off. And I was like, what the fuck? Oh, that's a good idea, yeah. So we ran up and we would hide and we'd, like, jump over rocks and shit because I was kind of afraid. I was like, well, In their cars, they could easily run us over because they're, again, inebriated.
Steffi, you look good. Hi, Steffi. What's your initial reaction?
Fuck this shit.
Great. So, we're stuck in the middle of the mountain. We've been walking for like an hour, just an hour and a half to go to get down to the cable car station. It's probably like 3 hours to get into Athens. Waiting for a taxi.
Ne?
Car's coming.
You can turn your back on a human, but you can't turn your back on a drug. You just cannot trust it. And again, I was worried if it's not them, if it's someone else, there's sharp turns, large corners, they could be going fast. They aren't expecting some people to be walking down, and they could be inebriated. So there was plenty of chances that we could have gotten hurt. If I went back, there's not a doubt in my mind I probably would have gotten the shit kicked out of me, maybe killed, or robbed, raped, whatever.
Nice little friend. What the fuck? Hi, puppy.
Because what's gonna happen to those guys, right? There's a giant group against a tourist. The police don't really go up there. The nearest help is hours away. Like, bro. We called a taxi and we're climbing down this mountain. It was kind of a spooky ride, but I've been through stuff like this before. I got into weird, sticky situations, and I'm kind of used to it, I guess, at this point. But this was one of those spookier times because I knew, oh God, like the mountains zigzag, like it's gonna take a while. I also didn't want to get Steffi in trouble. Like I didn't want her to get hurt or anything. That kept playing through the back of my mind. Like, what if they just take me out and decide to rape her? That would be a really, really fucked up situation.
Αρκετή, είναι περίπου 15 λεπτά πιο πάνω από το τελεφερίκ με το αυτοκίνητο.
Probably there's some of you guys thinking, oh, they were just playing, they're just retarded. Yeah, except they passed by us eventually when the taxi was called, and the taxi was like 5 minutes away. They passed by us. One car slowed down, they screamed, the second car slowed down, and they passed, they continued, and I looked and they went, okay. And we get into the taxi, we're relieved, everything is great.
Πήγατε στο σανατόριο.
Ναι, για πλάκα.
Ναι, εντάξει, δίπλα είναι. Ξέρω, πείτε μου, ναι.
Και μας κυνηγούσανε.
Ποιος?
Κάποιοι μαλάκες. Συγγνώμη για την έκφραση.
And then this happens. I freak out. I say, oh shit, because as we go down one further turn,
Πατή από εδώ πάνω, στο σκοτάδι.
Holy shit.
we see a car, and then a second car, a third car. All of them are waiting there for us.
Hi.
How are you, Steffi?
Fine.
We're
Alright.
eating ice cream. We're back in normal Athens. So, what's your impression of our fun friends?
Yeah. Fuck.
So yeah, thankfully we passed by him. I freaked out, and we actually had a really good night after that. So Steffi was a great host. Thank you so much. Athens was pretty chill again. Check out Steffi's profiles. So this story could have easily gotten really, really bad. I might have not been here today because at the end of the day, I asked her, like, what were the chances that we'd get robbed? Not even attacked, but just robbed. She said pretty high. And if they did try and rob us, there's no way they're taking my fucking Rolex. Like, I would beat the fuck out of them. And as soon as that would happen, I mean, I practice karate, but I can't take out all of them. And I was also afraid for Steffi. It would have gotten violent, which, who knows what they were waiting there for us. Like, the first chance they got, they stopped. That was spooky.
And here we are for Saganaki. What do you think? Were they nice people?
I wonder why they exist. What the fuck? Probably they burned all their brain cells, whatever. You know?
Oh, fuck it. That sounds retarded. My favorite part was when we got a taxi, which thank fucking God we did. We were passing down We were going down the turns and we see two cars just chilling. Just a bunch of these guys waiting. I'm sure they were just there to relax. But there is that whole part that when we were walking down the mountain, they did see us and both cars screamed at us like, hey! Like they were screaming and they slowed down a bit. And they didn't stop too far away from where we were. I'm sure they were waiting for us.
Thanks for watching.
So, Steffi, what do you think? Final thoughts. What did we learn today?
Not to trust everyone.
You can't trust everyone.
Be careful.
Gotta be careful. Some people are bad. Anything else? I trust Steffi with good food.
I'm glad that we're alive. That's that. Gotta be more careful. And you're eating saganaki.
Oh, this saganaki is fucking fantastic. Why do we eat saganaki at taverns instead of restaurants?
Because taverns are better in Greece
There we go.
than restaurants, usually.
All right. Hi, Steffi. Bye.
Subscribe if you enjoyed.